This summer, footballers and fans will flock to Europe for the greatest soccer event on the planet. Their destination, Germany. The World Cup 2006 promises to be the biggest and best soccer showcase ever. Millions will flock to the state-of-the-art stadiums, billions will watch on TV. The planet will stop as the world's footballing elite go head-to-head for the most prestigious prize in the game. And it will all kick off on the 9th of June in Munich and will end on the 9th of July, when the eyes of the world will focus on Berlin's historic Olympic Stadium for the biggest single event in the sporting calendar. In between, there'll be a month of explosive action played against the backdrop of some of Germany's most exciting cities. Later on in this programme, we'll be looking at Group H, but first let's look at Group G, which kicks off in Stuttgart on June the 13th. That first game will feature the last European winners of the World Cup, France. Lifting the trophy in 1998 and sealing their world dominance with victory in Euro 2000, there have been lean years since for Zinedine Zidane and his team of superstars. Close to home, they're looking to stamp their authority on planet football once again. Switzerland are hoping to mark their return to the World Cup finals in style. The last time they qualified was back in 1994. This year their side is young, quick and eager to impress, having survived one of the toughest groups in European qualification, and they've already proved they have stamina and class. Korea Republic were the most talked about team of the 2002 World Cup. Hosting the tournament boosted the Red Devils' confidence, and in front of their masses of passionate fans, they made the semi-finals. This time round, expectations are even higher, and South Korea will be determined not to let their nation down. Last but not least in this group are African qualifiers Togo. This is the first time the tiny nation has made it to the world's greatest football tournament. The day they got through, the president declared a national holiday and set the country into party mode. Underdogs they may be, but France will be wary. Remember Senegal last time around? Having set the world alight with their victories at World Cup 98 and Euro 2000, it was a shock when France crashed out of the 2002 finals without a win and without even scoring a goal. Adding insult to injury, a defeat at Euro 2004 at the hands of eventual winners Greece signalled France's golden period was definitely over. New coach Raymond Domenech was charged with the responsibility of rebuilding Les Bleus and guiding them through to Germany 2006, which would prove to be a much more difficult task than the group lineup, which included Minnows, Cyprus and the Faroe Islands, seemed to suggest. So any lessons learned from the experience of 2002?
Yes, it taught us what we knew before. It's that if a team's not well prepared, the context, the previous competitions, tired players, a bad infrastructure, then it can't go far.
France's task of qualifying was made that much more tricky by the retirement from the national team of key players like Zinedine Zidane, Claude Makélélé and Lilian Thuram.
It was practically a whole new team. 3 or 4 older players remained. Fabien Barthez remained, and apart from him, there were the players who were not new but almost new. So the first year was difficult, but we held on.
Without Zidane and his colleagues, France struggled to win their early games. At home against their 3 main group rivals, Israel, the Republic of Ireland and Switzerland, astonishingly they only managed 0-0 draws. In fact, the only victories and the only goals from their first 5 games came against the Faroe Islands and then Cyprus. In the Casilla, Domenech's team strolled to a leisurely win with a goal in the first half from Sylvain Wiltord. and another in the second half from Thierry Henry. Clearly, with 3 away games against their main rivals to come, France risked missing out on Germany 2006. Domenech needed a helping hand, and it came when first Zidane, then Makelele, and then Thuram decided to come out of retirement just in time for the crunch game against Ireland in Dublin. In front of a full house of 36,000, France's qualifying campaign finally turned around. After a nervous goalless first half, Thierry Henry broke the deadlock in the 68th minute with the goal that shattered Irish hearts and gave Les Bleus the momentum they needed to qualify.
The comeback of Zidane, Thuram and Makelele was important for the whole group of players, and this was shown by the qualification of France. There are 3 big players that bring with them lots of experience at the highest level of football. I hope the hard work that we've been putting in shows in the quality of the football.
With Zidane and co back, France went on to qualify as group winners after all. But that game in Dublin also showed how much Thierry Henry gives to the French team.
Well, first of all, the goals, especially against Ireland. A decisive goal and his capacity to cause permanent fear in the opposition. We all know that at any moment he can turn a whole match around based on 1 goal. When you have players of such a high standard, it's reassuring, because you know that something can happen.
Classed by many as one of the world's finest centre-forwards, the Frenchman can boast all the attributes that make such claims well-founded. Lightning quick, unpredictable, skillful and a composed finisher, Henry turns goal-scoring into an art form. His electric performances for his club side Arsenal in the English Premier League have seen him break a string of goal-scoring records. And although he's yet to set a major international tournament alight, you can rely on Henry to be at the centre of France's most exciting moments this summer. With the old guard back in the team, Domenech does have a formidable outfit. Among the world-class talent he can rely on is the undoubted star of France '98, Zinedine Zidane. Zizou may be getting a little older, but he's still one of the planet's greatest playmakers who can also score crucial goals. Former teammate of Henry, Patrick Vieira, stunned the footballing world when he left the club to test himself in Italy's Serie A with Juventus. The former Arsenal captain's influence has been highlighted by his former team's subsequent failure to mount a championship campaign without him. Vieira is a tenacious tackler and a supremely athletic midfielder, and he'll be hoping to lead his country to glory this summer. The draw in Leipzig was relatively kind to France, but it does mean they will be facing the Swiss again, a team they failed to beat twice in qualifying.
It's true, it will be difficult to play against Switzerland again, and it will be a difficult game again. They have very good players, and they made it difficult for us to qualify. The only solution for us to be able to beat them is to prepare thoroughly for the match. We know them, we know we have to beat them, and we know we have to be first in the group to go through easily.
So confidence appears to be riding high amongst the French, but it remains to be seen whether Domenech can make the best use of his returning veterans.
I think it's vital to have key players like that to stabilise a team. One can't have too many older players because that can be difficult, but having a few of them is vital.
c'est capital.
And what do the players think?
Le groupe de la France, je crois qu'il est bien. On aurait pu tomber.
I am very happy with the French group. It could have been worse. We have the qualities, but we have to show them and express ourselves, and we will need to concentrate to qualify. I think we will make a great team, and I think we will do well at the World Cup.
De pouvoir se libérer pour faire un bon mondial.
Located in the Baden-Württemberg region of southwest Germany, Stuttgart is one of the most opulent World Cup 2006 host cities. In fact, it's one of the richest cities in all of Germany, which is reflected in the palatial surroundings, expansive parks and decadent city squares. Stuttgart is host to several wine festivals every year, and this is bound to ensure that fans attending the 6 World Cup matches in the city will be in fine voice. The extensive indoor market here is also likely to be popular with the visiting supporters. You can find foods here from all over the world, and it's a good alternative to the pricier restaurants. Stuttgart is also home to Mercedes-Benz. One of their largest factories is based here, as well as their prestigious Museum of Mercedes-Benz. The first match to be played at the impressive Gottlieb Daimler Stadium will be France versus Switzerland on the 13th of June. There will also be 3 further group matches here, featuring the Netherlands, Spain and Croatia. The 54,000-seater stadium will also host a quarter-final as well as the third-place playoff match. Since reunification, a wind of change has been sweeping through the former East German city of Leipzig. Like much of the former East, Leipzig has been witness to a flurry of activity and development as they try to catch up with the West after 45 years of communist control. In the last 15 years, the city has seen dramatic change, and with the introduction of Western traits, shopping centres and global brands have descended upon Leipzig. Much work is also being done in preparation for the World Cup finals, as the population of 500,000 ready themselves for hordes of visiting supporters. Remnants from Leipzig's communist past are everywhere, and many buildings still lie derelict, with their owners never returning from the Second World War. Further reminders of Leipzig's rich history are abundant. Richard Wagner lived in Leipzig and wrote many of his finest works here. Leipzig was also home to Johann Sebastian Bach. His influence is still felt in the city, and it seems almost impossible to walk down the street without musical accompaniment. On the outskirts of town lies the Zentralstadion. Newly constructed, the stadium cost €90 million and was a joint development between private investors and the people of Leipzig. It's hoped that the 38,000-seater stadium will attract thousands of supporters to the city and help further its continuing redevelopment. 5 matches will be played here, featuring the Netherlands, France, Spain and Iran. The stadium will also host a last 16 game between the winner of Group C and the runner-up in Group D. After failing to qualify for France and Korea and Japan, Switzerland will finally make their return to the World Cup finals in 2006. Historically, the Swiss team have always given a good account for themselves at the tournament and have made it through to the quarter-final stages on no less than 3 occasions. A Until recently, manager Kobe Kun's side could lay claim to an impressive undefeated run of 14 matches. The success of the Swiss can be attributed to their tactically astute manager and a wealth of young talent.
We're still young. It's something that they've been building in Switzerland with the formation of youngsters, and every single club has been doing some great progress.
Philippe Senderos is one of many young players who are breathing new life into the Swiss side.
I didn't start with the first team, so I started with the under-21s. And afterwards I joined the first team, and my first game was in France, Stade de France.
The Swiss will also be relying heavily on striker Alexander Frey. The 26-year-old plays for the French club side Rennes and has a goal-scoring ratio of 1 in 3 for his national side. Rennes is Frey's 5th professional club after spells at Basel, Thun, Luzerne and Servette. The Basel-born striker made his debut in 2001 against Yugoslavia and scored an impressive 18 times in his first 27 games. Switzerland qualified for the World Cup from the highly competitive Group 4. They racked up 4 victories in the group, including this authoritative 3-1 demolition of Cyprus. Frey's 15th-minute strike opening the scoring. Daniel Zizek's wrapped up the victory in the 84th minute when he eluded the defence to steer his header past the goalkeeper.
That really threw us into the qualifications. You could feel the whole country going behind us and really supporting us, and that was a great feeling.
Although the Swiss team were undefeated during their entire qualification challenge, a draw against France in their next match meant they would travel to Dublin for their final game of the group, with qualification still in the balance. The Irish needed to win in order to stand any chance of picking up a playoff spot, whilst for the Swiss a point would take them into the playoffs. A win could have seen them pip group leaders France to the automatic qualification spot. As it turned out, the two teams played out a drab 0-0 draw. France comfortably beat Cyprus to take the top spot, which ensured the Swiss would have to beat 2002 semi-finalist Turkey if they were to progress. It was to be a memorable night for the Swiss, who travelled to Turkey aiming to protect a 2-0 aggregate lead from the first leg. The Turks had struggled to recapture the form which saw them take 3rd place at the last World Cup and were hoping for a change in fortune. Switzerland got off to the best possible start.
The first goal we scored after 1 minute, and you don't really know if you're happy or you think it's going to be a long night.
Faced with this uphill task and the prospect of defeat on home soil, the Turkish team poured forward in an attempt to score the 4 goals that were now required to win the tie. 20 minutes later, and Tuncay Sanli's strike gave his side hope. The striker then scored his second with only 36 minutes played. The second half kicked off at breakneck speed, and with almost 40 minutes left to play, this penalty presented Ates with the opportunity to bring his side to within 1 goal of the World Cup finals. This emphatic penalty sent a wave of jubilation around the terraces and forced Kun's hand as he urged his side to mount an attack and secure another vital away goal. In the 84th minute, the Turkish side saw their defence breached as a rare Swiss counter-attack saw Marco Strela put through against Volkan. The striker kept a cool head as he neatly rounded the keeper and prodded the ball home. Switzerland were on their way to Germany. Despite another late rally, Sanli's hat-trick was merely a consolation. The final aggregate score was 4-4, and thanks to 2 away goals, the Swiss snuck into the World Cup by the finest of margins.
For us, it's a great achievement. Last time was in '94 in the States, and before that it was a long time ago. So really, for the whole country, for such a small country, wonderful achievement, and Kobe Koon's done really well with this team, qualifying in Portugal for the 2004 European Championships and now for the World Cup.
Dortmund is a city made famous by its coal, steel and beer. More recently, the city has been undergoing a transformation, and as the heavy industry pulls out, a steady flow of media and communication companies have moved in. With the influx of these media, communication and high-tech companies, Dortmund's old buildings now share the skyline with sleek modern office blocks. Much of the old city remains unchanged, however. Dortmund has seen a massive development at its heart, which includes an extensive shopping precinct. Train connections from Dortmund will carry you quickly around the country, with Cologne and Gelsenkirchen both within 20 minutes. Whilst the coal and steel industries no longer feature in the city, the breweries are alive and well. 1,500 outlets now sell the locally produced Dortmunder beer. The place to consume your Dortmunder beer is at the Sky Beach, a tropical beach bar recreated on the top of a 7-storey car park in the middle of town. Dortmund is home to Borussia Dortmund's Westfalenstadion, which was built next to the old stadium in 1974. The people of Dortmund are mad about their football, with more than 38,000 inhabitants actively playing for a football club. The 60,000-seat stadium will host one of the World Cup's prestigious semi-finals on the 4th of July, and will also see games featuring Germany, Switzerland and favourites Brazil. Korea Republic are Asia's soccer powerhouse. 6 showings at the World Cup finals were famously topped last time out when Dutch coach Guus Hiddink and his men muscled their way into football's elite with a semi-final finish on home turf. Although Hiddink left, the nation's soccer expectations have been lifted forever. But that success seemed a distant memory on their stuttering road to Germany 2006. 2 losses and 1 draw from 6 qualifying games sounded a warning to the Asian high flyers. Their opposition had raised their game too.
모든 팀들이 다 아시아에서는
Every team in Asia now considers the Korean team to be the strongest in Asia, and I think so too.
또 모든 팀들이 한국과의 경기에서는 특별한 정신력으로 경기를 임하기 때문에 한국이
So the other
아시아
Asian teams
안에서
tried extra hard mentally to beat us.
경기하는 매 경기가
It made our games harder and is why we came second in
그런
our
것들이
qualification
이번
group.
월드컵 예선전에 작용했기 때문에 한국이 톱이 아닌 세컨으로 월드컵 본선에 진출할 것 같습니다.
It was certainly a roller coaster ride to the finals for new coach, another Dutchman, Joe Bonfrere and his squad. An expectant crowd packed the national stadium in Seoul to watch the Red Devils take on Kuwait in the opening game of the final phase of qualifying. Strikes from Lee Dong-gook and then Lee Young-pyeol secured a 2-0 win and a great start. It was followed by a defeat at the hands of Saudi Arabia in the Prince Mohammed bin Fahad Stadium, the Saudis cruising to a 2-0 victory. The next time was back home, where visitors Uzbekistan were beaten 2-1. The first goal came from Lee Yong-pyoe. And 5 minutes later, Lee Dong-gook made it 2 with a trademark volley. It was looking good for Bonfrere and co. The Korean Republic needed only 4 points from their next 2 games to ensure qualification, but the return leg against Uzbekistan in Tashkent gave them a real scare. Uzbekistan stunned Korea when Maxim Shaskik latched onto a hopeful pass and lobbed Korean keeper Lee Won-jae. A last gasp effort and a great bit of teamwork set up Park Chu-young to fire home an equaliser. After escaping with a point in Uzbekistan, the Koreans were determined to put on a performance worthy of World Cup finalists. And they did just that with a 4-0 drubbing of Kuwait. Victory and a ticket to the World Cup were secured with a game in hand. Finishing the preliminaries with a 4-point deficit to Saudi Arabia was an indication of the up-and-down campaign South Korea had fought, but second spot was enough to guarantee their ticket to Germany in the summer. Despite making it through, the lacklustre qualification campaign unleashed a torrent of criticism from the South Korean media, prompting Joe Bonfrere into a shock move. The man who steered his team to their 7th World Cup finals quit. Bonfrere was replaced by yet another Dutchman, Dick Advocaat. Despite this being one of the highest pressure jobs in international football, there's plenty for the former Netherlands national team coach to be optimistic about. There's a lot of Korean Republic players now making a name for themselves on the European stage, and there's plenty of quality in the team for them to shine in the group stages at least.
The Korean team is very fast, not just in attack but in defence too. All the players are highly skilled. Other teams find our pace very difficult to deal with. I think those qualities are our team's strength. There are many players in the Korean team who have a lot of potential in my opinion. Particularly, I think Park Yi-sung, Kim Do-hyung and Lee Dong-gook. These players will grab the spotlight at the World Cup.
Despite the setback of qualifying second in their group, South Korea are determined to prove that the semi-final finish in 2002 was not just down to home advantage. They have a very strong desire to demonstrate once and for all that they're worthy of their elite status.
The most important thing is the fact that the Korean team is getting better and better internationally. As we had good games in the last World Cup. Personally, I believe that the 2006 World Cup will be a good chance to show that the Korean team can play well. And also to promote Asian football on the world stage.
They'll certainly need to be at the top of their game to ensure they progress to the last 16. Beating France is a tough ask for any team, and the '98 world champions have to be favourites to win the group. But South Korea have every reason to believe that second place is up for grabs. However, playing so far away from home will throw up a whole new set of problems for the Asian side.
As the playing environment in Europe is very different, we might find it difficult. In particular, the surface, the weather and the stadium atmosphere. The most important thing is for us to try and adapt to the new environment through practice and actual experience of playing in Europe.
There's another outside factor which might have some bearing on Korea's performance too. The immense pressure of the nation's expectations has already seen them lose a coach. They'll have to hope it doesn't affect their focus in the tournament.
월드컵에서
As the Korean team had a very good result last time, which even the players did not expect, it's true that we're under pressure to get a good result.
중요한 것은 그런 선수들이 그런 작년 월드컵에 대한 좋은 성적을
However, we should try to deal with the pressure and try and play our best.
그리고 다시 한국 축구가 지금 가지고 있는 위치를 돌아보고 그 위치에서 최선을 다하는 것이 중요하다고 생각합니다. 그리고
I believe that we're good enough to get a good result. Even though we'll be under pressure, I expect that we'll play well.
부담보다는 기대가 더 크다고 생각합니다.
The skyline of the modern high-tech city of Frankfurt is dominated by office blocks and skyscrapers. Frankfurt is the financial hub of Germany and is also home to the European Central Bank. In fact, 83,000 people in Frankfurt work in banking. A large proportion of Frankfurt's population comes from outside Germany. This gives rise to a culturally diverse feel to the city, and there are many film theatres, exhibitions and fairs to reflect this. Most of the old town was destroyed by bombing in the Second World War. However, enough remains to give an impression of what Frankfurt was like before the skyscrapers went up. The new Waldstadion has been built specifically for the World Cup, with 126 million euros being lavished on this magnificent arena. This 44,000-seat stadium is home to Eintracht Frankfurt of the Bundesliga. In June, thousands of supporters will be descending upon Frankfurt for the 4 group games and quarter-final which will be played here. Hanover is one of Germany's 10 largest cities. It's a busy international trade centre, which is also famed for its tranquil surroundings, baroque gardens, modern art, museums and fine entertainment. Like much of Germany, the streets of Hanover are peppered with cafes and bars. They're sure to be packed to the rafters when fans from all over the world will descend on Hanover for the matches that are to be played here. The Niedersachsen Stadium was completed in 1954, is home to Hannover 96 of the Bundesliga and was used during the 1974 World Cup. 64 million euros has been invested in modernising and refurbishing the stadium in preparation for the finals in 2006. It now boasts an all-seater 40,000 capacity. It's a very compact stadium which promises a great atmosphere for the 5 matches that will be played here. Games featuring Italy, Mexico, Croatia and South Korea will all feature, as well as one of the quarter-finals. Togo is one of the smallest countries in Africa, and in football their national team has traditionally been overshadowed by the more established neighbours like Nigeria, Cameroon and Senegal. So it's no surprise that when World Cup qualifying started over 2 years ago, Togo's chances of getting through looked pretty slim. Despite calling in Nigerian star Stephen Keshi to take over as coach, Togo's first matches ended in defeat.
The first match we lost in Zambia, and the coach come maybe 1 week before. He didn't know the players. The second coach, he was there to tell me which player is playing this, and he don't have any idea of what is going on in Togo.
At 43, Keshi is a veteran of top-level football, having captained Nigeria to the World Cup finals in USA '94. Knowing he had a solid and highly motivated team on his hands, he set to work getting all the elements to gel. It was the start of what would be an astonishing turnaround for the Togo team. Silencing their critics, Togo pulled off a stunning 3-1 win over Senegal. Beating a team who had been quarter-finalists in the last World Cup really boosted their confidence, and Togo began to believe they could be part of the greatest soccer tournament of them all.
We beat Senegal, and We go to Liberia and we make one draw there, and after we go to Mali and we win this match, and everybody changed his mind. Nobody talk again about African Cup. Everybody is looking for World Cup. And from Mali, even Senegal and the other teams, they start to say, hey, Togo, you have to take time.
In a stunning qualification campaign, Togo put together an undefeated run which included 4 straight victories, leaving them locked in a fierce battle with Senegal for the top spot. The outcome will be decided in the last match. If Togo lost, all their World Cup dreams would be shattered.
Before the match, everybody, we were so motivated. Everybody want to, because it's last game. We cannot do all these things, and the last match we say, no, we don't want to go to World Cup. It's not possible.
It wasn't going to be an easy ride for the Sparrowhawks as they travelled to meet Congo at their home stadium in Brazzaville. In front of 20,000 Congolese fans, the home side took the lead thanks to this strike from Bertrand Bouty. But just before half-time, Togo's striker hero Emmanuel Adebayor showed the kind of form that made him the top scorer in the African qualifiers. After the break, the Congolese took the initiative again. Armel Mamouna Osila pouncing on this one to put them 2-1 ahead. These were tense times for Togo, still trailing with 30 minutes to go. Their dreams of Germany were fading.
2-1, we was losing it. Yeah, we just wake up and nobody know where we get our strength. So we just started playing our football.
Suddenly everything came together for Togo and a great team effort set up Abdel Kubaja for this strike. A draw would be enough to see Togo through, but their first ever qualification for the World Cup finals was sweetened by victory when Adebayor set up Kubaja for his second. Togo had proved that they were definitely a force to be reckoned with. 20 goals scored and only 8 conceded at the back saw the Hawks emerge from the group with a 2-point lead over Senegal and gave Togo plenty to celebrate. Getting through to their first ever World Cup final set the tiny nation of Togo on fire. People spilled out onto the streets of Togo's capital, Lomo, to celebrate, and the president declared the next day a public holiday. When the team arrived home, 30,000 people packed the airport to give them a hero's welcome.
The next day we arrived in Togo, and when we reach the airport, you come off the plane, you see it's like the whole Togo come in the airport. It was very great. Then from there we said, no, we have done something great.
Special honours went to Togo's iconic striker, Emmanuel Adebayor. The 22-year-old's 11 goals have been crucial in their campaign, and he'll definitely be a big threat in the summer. Long-legged with quick feet, he has sublime finishing ability. Intimidating defences with his sheer physical presence, once he gets a chance at goal, he rarely misses. Adebayor has spent most of his career in Europe, playing for Metz and Monaco. He's recently completed a move to English Premiership team Arsenal.
We have a team, only maybe one player is known by everybody, so if we don't have a big star, but we have a team, I think today it's important to be together. So it's not a team, it's like friends together, and we enjoy what we are doing. So if we don't qualify, nobody come and say, hey, why you don't go to World Cup? So we just taking fun and take every match like it comes.
Getting to the World Cup finals has already given them plenty to celebrate and has put Togo firmly on the world football map.
Everybody think Togo, nobody knows Togo before. Now everybody see you say, I come from Togo, they say, World Cup. They never know where is Togo. When you say Africa, they say, now we know. So for us, it was, this moment, nobody can forget in his life.
Cologne is Germany's oldest city and lies in the middle of the country about 65 kilometres east of the Netherlands. Built on the banks of the Rhine, Cologne is regarded as the engine of the German economy. Large-scale industrial development is commonplace in this region. Cologne is well connected and many other World Cup 2006 venues are within easy reach using the cheap rail service. The Romans founded Cologne in 50 BC, and although largely destroyed in the Second World War, many historical landmarks still remain. None are more impressive than the imposing Gothic cathedral. The cathedral dominates the skyline of Cologne and attracts thousands of visitors each year. The riverbank area of the city is packed with cafes and eateries, all of which will be bristling with supporters in June. The Rhine Energy Stadium will host 5 World Cup matches. Home to FC Cologne, this 40,000-seat stadium also hosted games during the 1988 European Championship. In anticipation of the 2006 World Cup, the stadium was redeveloped at a cost of €110 million. The first match to be played here will be Angola versus Portugal on Sunday the 11th of June. With 4 high-quality teams, there promises to be plenty of explosive action in Group H. First to kick off in this group in Germany will be Spain. The Iberians have never really fulfilled their full potential on the greatest international soccer stage. They've never made it to a final, so this time around superstar Raúl and co will be hoping they can make Spanish soccer history. First they'll have to take on the fearsome force of Ukraine. Although this is their first outing in the World Cup, they boast one of the most potent weapons in world football today, and this is the perfect platform for Andrei Shevchenko to show off his considerable skills. Tunisia are World Cup veterans, having visited the tournament 3 times previously. The North Africans made it through to Germany pretty comfortably and have a host of stars in their team, so they'll be hoping to cause a few upsets. As will Saudi Arabia in their 3rd consecutive World Cup. They're no strangers to giant killing and they'll have their eye on getting the better of their group opposition. European giants Spain have an illustrious football history. Home to super clubs Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's fair to say this country is passionate about its football. However, the national team has never quite measured up to their full potential. Having made their way to the World Cup finals no less than 12 times, it's incredible that Spain have never actually won soccer's greatest prize. In fact, the highest they've ever finished was 4th way back in 1950. What makes this statistic more odd is the fact that Spain regularly turn out an all-star squad, packed with talent and more than capable of taking on the world's best. Every time the Spanish travel to a World Cup final, the nation expects. All they need is a team that can deliver.
Espero que se rompa. Como bien dices, tenemos grandes jugadores.
I hope this will change this year, because as you say, we have great players and we're unlucky we haven't achieved anything important. We have to work harder. We have a great potential, so I hope everyone can notice this in the World Cup. We like to keep the ball, although there's a lot of room for improving the defence. I think we have to be close within and play better as a team.
Spain didn't have it easy in qualification either. Despite putting away 25 goals, including 2 strike-fests against San Marino, they had a tough fight to the finish. Although they remain undefeated since coach Luis Aragonés took control in 2004, the stats hide a disappointing number of draws, like this one against Serbia and Montenegro. A superb header from Raúl put Spain ahead. But Serbia equalised. The Balkan side were on their way to automatic qualification, while Spain were destined to fight for their World Cup lives in a playoff against Slovakia. Played at Atletico Madrid's Vicente Calderón Stadium, Spain made the most of their home advantage. It was Luis Garcia who first found the net in the 10th minute. His next came just 8 minutes later, set up yet again by Spain's Xavi. Zilad Nemeth did manage to pull one back. But Spain stamped their authority on the match with Fernando Torres scored via a penalty. Slovakia were reduced to 10 men when Marian Hard was sent off for protesting. In the 75th minute, Garcia completed a hat-trick followed by a late header from substitute Fernando Morientes. It was enough to secure a place in Germany for Spain. Despite being the tournament's perennial underachievers, Spain are a squad packed with world-class talent. Up front are the explosive duo of Torres and Real Madrid and Spain captain Raúl. Fernando Torres is the bright young hope of Spanish football and became the youngest player ever to represent the national side when he made his debut in 2003 at the age of 19. With lightning pace and an excellent touch, Torres has become one of the most coveted players in Europe. After years as the golden boy of Spanish football, Real Madrid's Raúl now finds himself as one of the senior players of the squad and will also be captaining his country this summer. A prolific striker, Raúl is also Spain's leading goal scorer and can also boast more national team appearances than any other Spanish outfield player in the nation's history. Raúl is excellent at linking midfield and attack and will be a danger to defences in and around the penalty area. Liverpool's Luis Garcia had a tremendous 2005 and will be hoping for more of the same in 2006. Having signed for the English club in the summer of 2004, Garcia's goals were crucial as the Reds won the Champions League. His goal-scoring exploits have been unleashed on the international scene, and he became a national hero when he netted a hat-trick in the World Cup qualification playoff. Joaquin is a talented left winger who will be responsible for supplying the crosses to Raúl this summer. The Real Betis winger has experienced his first taste of Champions League football this season and will now be relishing the opportunity to sink his teeth into the World Cup. This is the 8th time in a row that Spain have made it to the World Cup finals. This time coach Aragones promises to go further than they've ever gone before, all the way to the final.
I don't think our group is too difficult, but you can't really say that. I think it will be important for us to win the first match, and I hope Spain qualifies.
The nation has been waiting a long time for a World Cup win, and with a squad so packed with talent, there's every reason for them to believe this might just be the year.
For me, the most important thing is to win all the matches. We have lots of expectation, and we know that we are many people's favourites, so I hope we will do well.
Munich is the capital of the Bavaria region. 1.5 million people live here and is one of the wealthiest German cities. Aside from being a home to high-tech industry, Munich is a very popular tourist destination and will be particularly busy in the World Cup months of June and July. The city boasts a collection of world-class museums, theatres and parks. It was also home to many famous artists, such as Kandinsky, Strauss and Ibsen. Munich is a very traditional city, and this is reflected wherever you go. The Hofbrauhaus is the most popular of Munich's many beer halls. Staff still wear traditional costumes and serve traditional Bavarian beers. The band plays every night, and everyone is welcome to dance. Completed in late 2005, the futuristic Allianz Arena has replaced the old Olympic Stadium as home to both Bayern Munich and Munich 1860. The 66,000-seater stadium will host 6 World Cup games in total. It will also be witness to the opening ceremony on the 9th of June as Germany take on Costa Rica. Founded in 1991 after the breakup of the former Soviet Union, Ukraine will be making their first ever showing in the top international tournament when they travel to the World Cup finals in Germany this summer. Ukraine have attempted to make the finals twice before, and both times they were knocked out at the playoff stages. First time around they were dispatched by Croatia as they tried to make it to France '98. And 4 years later they were sent home by Germany, who went on to take their place in Japan-South Korea 2002. After failing to qualify for the Euro 2004 Championships in Portugal, Ukraine called up national hero Oleg Blokhin to take charge. He was voted European Footballer of the Year in 1975 and, playing for the former USSR, made appearances at the World Cup finals in 1982 and 1986. Since Blokhin took over in October 2003, a new wave of confidence has rushed through the team, and although they are currently ranked 40th in the world, they conducted one of the most impressive qualifying campaigns. The Ukraine's hard qualifying group saw them facing such tough opposition as Denmark, Turkey and Euro 2004 champions Greece. Highly motivated to succeed, Ukraine had a great start to their campaign. Undefeated in their first 4 matches, they travelled to Istanbul to meet their closest rivals, Turkey. It was to be a crucial match for both teams. Just 2 points separated Ukraine from Turkey as they started this match. In front of 55,000 notoriously passionate Turkish fans in Fenerbahce's home stadium, the Ukraine showed just how determined they were to get the maximum points by taking the lead in the 9th minute. Bayer Leverkusen's Andrei Voronin setting up Oleg Husev for this strike. Less than 10 minutes later, the Ukraine's international superstar Andrei Shevchenko showed the class that has brought him a wealth of success with his club side AC Milan. From then on, the Ukraine set up a solid defensive wall which the Turkish team just could not penetrate. The game was decided once and for all in the last minute. It was Shevchenko again. It was a demonstration of the formidable power of Ukraine's attacking formation. The victory moved them 5 points ahead of Turkey. Ukraine took 3 wins from their next 3 confrontations with Albania, Denmark and Kazakhstan. But their next test would prove a little more tricky as they travel to Athens to take on European champions Greece. For much of the match, Greece had the upper hand, but they squandered chance after chance. There were even 2 offside goals. When the Ukraine did create a chance, Andrei Hustin leapt on it just 8 minutes from time. That secured victory for the Ukraine and guaranteed they progressed to the first ever World Cup finals. In a campaign of 12 matches, Ukraine won 7. That saw them finish the group top of the table ahead of Turkey, and to put the icing on the cake, they were the first team in Europe to guarantee their place in Germany. There's plenty for Oleg Blokhin and company to feel positive about. There'll be an unknown quantity to most teams in the finals, but everyone knows that they do possess one of the hottest talents in world football today, in the form of their prolific striker Andrei Shevchenko. Nicknamed Sheva, the 29-year-old is the complete centre-forward. The AC Milan star has fearsome pace and strength and was named European Footballer of the Year in 2004. In that same year, Pelé named him as one of the best 125 footballers in the world. Comfortable with either foot, Shevchenko is also capable of scoring goals from any angle and almost any range. The World Cup will be the first time Sheva can show off his talents on a global stage and illustrate why English champions Chelsea reportedly offered £85 million for his services. Playing alongside him is Andrei Voronin. He's the perfect foil for the explosive Shevchenko. Adopting a more withdrawn role, the skillful, industrious Voronin will be responsible for supplying the ammunition to Sheva. Although Ukraine have no experience of the World Cup to draw on, they're fancy to make an impressive debut. The first time we'll get to see them is on June the 14th, when they take on top-ranked Spain. Spain will be looking to kickstart their own World Cup ambitions, so it should be a tough test for the Eastern Europeans. However, the classy way in which they made it through to Germany shows why they're hotly tipped to get through to the second round. The cosmopolitan city of Hamburg is the most northerly of all the World Cup 2006 venues. Nestled on Germany's North Sea coast, this historical city has grown up around its busy international harbour. The harbour has been welcoming traders from all over the world since the early part of the 10th century. However, come June the 10th, it will be fans from Argentina and the Ivory Coast who will be flocking to this vibrant city. Like so many German cities, Hamburg underwent major reconstruction in the middle of the 20th century, and visitors will be treated to a marriage of new and old architecture. Hamburg is also a great place to relax and boasts a lavish selection of couture boutiques, restaurants and high street shops. At night you can be sure that those celebrating victory will be heading to the Reeperbahn. This is where the Beatles came to hone their talents before taking the world by storm, and it's still the place where all the locals go for a good night out. HSV Hamburg play at the AOL Arena, and as one of the largest stadiums in Germany, it will be a fantastic venue for the 5 World Cup games that will be played here. Although the pitch is undergoing a bit of a tanning session, it's sure to be in great shape when the tournament kicks off in June. Pioneering Tunisia are the only African team going to Germany with previous World Cup experience. In fact, they became the first African side to win a game at the World Cup finals when they beat Mexico 3-1 in 1978. This year they'll be hoping to set another precedent as the first Tunisian team to make it to the second round. The captain knows the scale of the challenge ahead of them.
I think we have to prepare very good because we are not, like a big country. We have 11 million people, we are not, so big. But I think now we make team, that we can we beat everybody with this team. And we have a good trainer, of course, Roger Le Maire. They make the team stronger.
Tunisia's most recent World Cup experiences, however, have been somewhat short-lived.
Last World Cup, the last 2 World Cups, was Japan and I was there in France. I was there, but we don't play very good. We don't play good. We went just for holiday,
But as the new generation of Tunisian players have proved, the holiday is over.
We have, now 20 to 22 players to play in Europe. That means that Tunisia, we are, now they start to make good players to send to Europe. And I hope that we don't stop and we continue like that, because we make already a lot of good things, and I hope we continue like that.
It's a proud boast, but the rising standards of the Tunisian players has produced a squad with enviable attributes, and their influence has already been felt on the African football scene.
We have, some technical players, but I think for us, Tunisia, we are strong and physically, The player, we have a lot, The player, they are fast and they are strong physically, and this, I think, will make difference in Africa,
Tunisia led the qualification charge for the African teams, but it was no easy matter booking their ticket to Germany. They only won one of their first 4 games before a 7-0 trouncing of Malawi. That game was followed by another 4 straight victories, including this hard-fought win at home against Kenya. The winner coming courtesy of Haikal Gwamandia, who scored after just 2 minutes. In a closely fought group, it came down to the last game against North African rivals Morocco to decide who would qualify, and the Young Eagles of Carthage were equal to the test. In a thrilling finale played at the 7th of November Stadium in Tunis, the visitors opened the scoring after just 3 minutes. Tall Moroccan striker Marouane Chamal slotting home. It was not the start the home team wanted. But Tunisia then mounted a spirited comeback, and a reprieve came fairly quickly. Egyptian referee El Fatah awarded the penalty, and Brazilian-born Jose Clayton scored the equaliser from the penalty spot 15 minutes later. It was an excellent finish under pressure, which gave Moroccan keeper Lanyagri no chance. Morocco knew that they had to win to go through, so they pushed forward and took the lead once again, thanks to some sloppy defending and some dogged perseverance from Talal El Khakouri, who managed to jab the ball home even though he was lying on the floor at the time. El Khakouri was also involved in Tunisia's crucial equaliser. The home team knew that all they needed was a draw to go through. Qualification was finally secured by Adele Chadli's speculative cross that somehow crossed the line, assisted by the despairing lunge of El Khakouri at the far post. The celebrations were lengthy and justified. Tunisia had snatched qualification from the jaws of elimination in dramatic fashion. A look at the final group table reveals how close it was. Morocco squeezed out by just 1 point. This significant prize had been won by the new young rising stars of Tunisia.
Our team, we don't have a lot, old players. All the players is young, and they start now to go outside from Tunis,
The North African team's growing talent pool also includes Brazilian-born frontman Santos. Bolton-based defender Radi Jaidi. Striker Zaid Jaziri, who plays for Troyes in France. And leading by example, skipper Hatem Trabelsi, who plays his club football for Ajax. And for all these players, especially the younger ones, the World Cup is a great opportunity to show what they can do and attract the attention of clubs in top leagues all around the world.
I hope for them that this World Cup is going to be, very good for them, to show. And if you want to show your quality and you want to have, some clubs,
But before any of these players can contemplate lucrative futures in Europe and elsewhere, they have a more pressing task at Germany 2006, and they certainly believe they have a team that can do well.
now is the time, I think, for Tunisia to make step more, you know, to show our football, to show the people that we are not team, we go there just to play 3 games and then we go back to Tunis. But if we get, you know, there's good teams, you know, we can play against them. I think that time we have to go through.
Since reunification, Berlin has been rejuvenated by an injection of modern-day development and investment. The impressive Potsdamer Platz now stands on what used to be a derelict site next to the old East-West divide. This impressive development is typical of a wave of foreign investment that flocked to the Old East following the fall of the Berlin Wall. However, the western part of the city remains largely unchanged, with many poignant reminders of Berlin's recent history. Checkpoint Charlie still endures, although the soldiers manning it have long gone and only their images remain. Berlin is a modern, vibrant metropolis, but the newly found optimism of the city has by no means led to the denial of its traumatic past. The Berlin Wall was dramatically destroyed in 1989, and a brass seal now runs the length of the old divide. However, in the middle of Potsdamer Platz, you can see one of the last remaining pieces of the wall itself. No matter what time of the day, Berlin is always busy and people are everywhere. Whether they're shopping, taking time out at a cafe, or taking in the sights, it really is one of the most frenetic cities in Europe. The famous Reichstag reflects the marriage of old and new, which typifies Berlin today, and it's undoubtedly a fitting venue for the final of the World Cup 2006. The final, along with 4 group matches and a quarter-final, will be held here at the Olympic Stadium. A crowd of 75,000 people will be on hand to try and cheer their teams to victory. Over the course of the tournament, 450,000 fans will visit the ground. On the 9th of July, all eyes will be on Berlin, as 2 teams will vie for the most coveted football trophy on earth. Whatever happens with the Olympic Stadium already sold out, it's sure to be a fantastic spectacle. Saudi Arabia's appearance in Germany will be their 4th consecutive World Cup showing, and they'll be looking to improve on their 2002 performance, where they bowed out at the group stages following an 8-0 thrashing at the hands of Germany. After also failing to get past the group stage at the 2004 Asian Cup, Argentine coach Gabriel Calderon was brought in and has since reinvigorated the Saudi Arabia national side. Calderon's new-look team mixes youth and experience, and his introduction of an attacking brand of football has impressed both his employers and the country's fans alike. One of the first things Calderon did after taking over as boss was bring national hero Sami Al-Jaber out of international retirement. Al-Jaber had played his last game for the Saudis in the 8-0 defeat in Japan, and his reintroduction was key in rebuilding team morale and securing a place in Germany. What's more, with over 150 caps to his name, the striker's experience also makes him the ideal captain for his country this summer. When Al-Jaber finally decides to retire, there will be an immense pressure on Yasser Al-Khattani to fill his goal-scoring boots. Already Saudi Arabia's most expensive footballer, following his $10 million move to Al Hilal, Al-Khattani will be hoping that his direct style will make him a star on the world stage. Al-Khattani is already something of a national treasure, and his quick feet and eye for goal will certainly be something to look out for in Germany. The man responsible for creating the chances for Al-Jaber and Al-Khattani will be Mohammed Al-Shaloub. The diminutive winger is one of Saudi Arabia's top performers in qualifying, and like his team strikers, plays his club football in Al Hilal. Despite his size, Al-Shaloub is one of the biggest stars in Asian football, and his delivery at set pieces will be a threat to opponents in Group H. Saudi Arabia began their journey to Germany in a freezing Uzbekistan. Decent chances were few and far between in the first half, but Yasser El-Khattani was a constant threat to the home side. First being denied by a last-ditch challenge, and then seeing his goal-bound shot blocked. Whilst at the other end, the Uzbekistan attack was keeping Mabreak Zaid's hands warm. Sami El-Jabir stepped off the bench and out of international retirement. And El-Jabir's impact was immediate as he expertly converted Mohamed Al-Shaloub's pass to put his country in front. However, the game was far from won and Uzbekistan came back with a series of good chances. And Uzbekistan's endeavours were eventually rewarded when Soliev slammed an equaliser into the top of the net. With a point from their opening game, the match against group favourites Korea Republic was the first chance for Saudi fans to see Al-Jabir back in national team colours and on home soil. And they had something else to celebrate when their team's bright start was rewarded when Sal Kariri slotted home from close range. The Koreans started the second half brightly, but found keeper Zaid in the same form he had demonstrated in Uzbekistan. And the Koreans knew that it wasn't going to be their day when El-Khattani was hauled down before dusting himself off and firing home the penalty to secure the 3 points. Following the euphoria of their success against Korea, Saudi Arabia crashed back down to earth with a goalless draw in Kuwait. However, the Saudis would have more joy when their neighbours visited Riyadh for the return match. Al-Shaloub's deflected free kick opened the scoring and settled the nerves before the Saudis bombarded the Kuwait defence with a series of attacks. Al-Jabir was particularly unlucky not to get on the score sheet, first hitting the post and then the side netting. However, in the second half, the Saudi captain turned provider as his strong run set up Al-Shaloub and he was able to slot home his second. With the game lost, the Kuwaitis began to lose their heads and they were reduced to 9 men when Al-Namash received his marching orders for clattering Al-Jabir. And Juma soon followed. Al-Khattani saw his volley well saved before Saad Al-Hati finished the scoring with the goal of the game as he rounded what was left of the Kuwaiti defence and take his nation one step closer to Germany. Saudi Arabia went into their final home game knowing that a good result against Uzbekistan would secure their place in Germany, and a packed King Fahd Stadium was expectant. Following an early scare which Zaid was able to smother, Al-Jabir did a hero's job by tackling away from close range and firmly planting 1 foot in Germany. With their fans jubilant in the stands, the Saudis continued to torment their opponents on the pitch, with Al-Khattani and Al-Qadi both being denied. second half began as the first half had ended, with Saudi Arabia dominant, and they finally booked their place at the World Cup when Al Jabeer fired in a second to double their lead. More chances would go begging before the impressive Saad Al Hati struck at the far post and kicked off the qualification party. And when the full-time whistle was blown, Saudi Arabia's qualification was confirmed, and a narrow 1-0 victory over Korea Republic in Seoul saw them claim top spot in qualifying. And there's confirmation of Asia's meanest defence sitting atop of their qualifying group and forcing group favourites Korea Republic into second place. Although they impressed in qualifications, Saudi Arabia will face a much sterner challenge when they arrive in Germany. With their entire squad based in their homeland, the Saudis aren't accustomed to playing against the world's best players week in, week out. But they can take heart that they now have a younger and stronger squad than the one that failed so miserably in 2002. And the Saudis will fancy their chances of picking up results against Tunisia and World Cup debutants Ukraine. However, with an exciting forward line that boasts the talents of Al Jabeer, Al Qahtani and Al Shaloub, it promises to be an exciting summer for the Saudi Arabian fans. Located in the Rhineland-Palatinate of southwest Germany, Kaiserslautern is one of the smallest cities to host matches for the 2006 World Cup finals. The population of 110,000 are likely to be overwhelmed by the visiting supporters, and the city has been racing to prepare facilities in anticipation of the fans from Australia, Italy, Spain and Paraguay. Kaiserslautern is a small, peaceful city with a provincial feel. Life here is slow, quiet and tranquil. The 11 Friends sculpture in the heart of the city is new for 2006 and is intended to illustrate the ethic by which all successful teams must abide. The Fritz-Walter Stadium is perched on the side of the valley in which Kaiserslautern lies. Amidst the trees, the 41,000-seat stadium is named after the legendary German World Cup winning captain of 1954. The stadium, which has recently undergone a €48 million extension, will host 5 World Cup matches, the first of which will be Australia's game against Japan on the 12th of June.